Before I get started, I'd like to acknowledge first of all that this video is purposely made for educational purposes and not to discourage anyone's experiences, not to downgrade anyone's experiences, and 100% to just raise awareness and allow people to understand the importance of this topic. Alright, hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a very sensitive kind of topic. So if you guys, you can read the title. So if you guys clicked on this, you already know what you're getting yourselves into. But please, before we get started, I'd like to say one thing and one thing only, and that is stick till the end, because it's very important to understand what this topic is about and how to handle the situation if you are with someone who has experienced it or you are someone who experienced it. I am not a professional doctor or any of that type, first of all. I am just basically giving you information I have found from researching online and from all the experiences about it. Like, I've read about it, I've watched videos of people who talked about it, so I am just basically basing all of this video on the research I've made through other people's experiences with this topic. So just, if you need any more information, I'll always link in the description videos about it, that like of people who actually experience the stuff, or resources on like certain organizations that talk about this topic in more deeper and more understood and in a more complicated way, if you understand what I mean. Alright, so today we're talking, this is April 2025. April marks Sexual Assault Awareness Month. What is Sexual Awareness Month? What is sexual assault in the beginning? What is it? Sexual assault basically is a type like of sexual violence, basically. So like, you guys probably have heard like people who enter relationships where they're getting beaten by their partner. That's physical assault, or emotional assault, which is like where somebody's partner in a relationship would emotionally abuse them, like either narcissism or like what's it called, like emotionally abuse a person, basically, like control what they have to wear, control how they have to think, when they should cry, and basically downgrade them. Yeah, this is another form of violence, but it's towards sexual things. So it's basically it is unwanted sexual behaviors, like for example touching in certain areas where like the person hasn't consented to it, or being forced and tricked into different types of actions or situations you don't want to be part of. Alright, let's start off with sexual assault is not limited to any age or gender. It can happen to anyone at any age. It could range, sadly, it could range from the ages of like 2 years old all the way to the age of like 60, 70, 80, 90, even 100, depending how long a person can live. So sexual assault is not a thing that just specific. It can happen to men and women of all ages. And if it happens to a child that's between the ages of 0 to 7, which sadly is something that happens with anybody, like family members, it could happen with friends, it could happen with anybody. So if it happens to a child from this age, 0 to 7, the child will come out to have something called DID. I should make a full video about DID, but I'm not very qualified 100% on it. That's why I'm doing still more research on it. But I know a lot of information, so I can make like a video about it while researching about it. So if you have DID basically is multiple personality disorder. In another word, dissociative identity disorder. If you need to know more about that, if you need to know more about that, please do your research, and I'll make sure to make a video about that, to be fair, because I know so much information, so I need to inform you guys about it. My research is basically all Australian related research, because I live in Australia and everything's going to be Australian related. But if I can, in the descriptions, I'll link organizations from around the world as well, if I can. but it's gotta be mainly Australian. If you need to do more research, please, 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 online. There's always answers online, okay? So now let's get into the statistics of this. It says sexual assault is a crime that it occurs to almost 2 million Australian adults in between the ages of 15. So it starts from the ages of 15 mainly. So 2 million Australian adults have experienced at least one form of sexual assault since the age of 15. Yes. All right. Let's talk about also something very important: consent. What is consent? Because in school, when I was in school, the most important thing they talked to us about, I don't know about American schools and British schools and all of the other countries. All I know is for us, they always talk to us in health class and sex ed. Always the main points were consent. We had a whole video about consent talk to us. So there was one time where year 10, was it? Yeah. They talked to us about how riding a bicycle was the example. So it's a video showing a person wanting to ride a bike, and then they went to their friend and they asked their friend, hey, do you want to ride a bike? And the friend goes, they give us different scenarios. So one of them goes, yes, I want to ride the bike. So that means they consented to it so they can go on it and you guys can have fun together. And then the other one was the friend said no. And then they were like, no means no. So basically consent is so consent basically is when you give a yes or a no to someone to doing something. So basically in that video it was corresponding to also sexual stuff. Like if you're in bed with someone and you want to do something with them, always if they ask you for example can I do this with you, touch you here, or can I kiss you, or can I all of that stuff, if they say yes to it, that means you have the pass to do what you ask them you want to do to them, okay? If they say no, that means no. No means no. And then maybe always means no as well. Maybe is not a yes. It's not a definitive yes, it's not a definitive no. So never take action when someone says maybe. Just clarify with the person. Communication is always key when doing something so vulnerable like that. Always the key. It says here on the page I'm researching, this is a government issued website. I can link it in the description. It's Australian based and I'm getting all my information from there. So it says here, you cannot give consent if you are being threatened in any way, you are unable to understand the nature of the behavior, you are unconscious, passed out, or not able to say what you want due to alcohol or drugs, you are asleep, or you are scared. These are the only situations where you can't give consent. Basically saying a child cannot give consent to sexual stuff because they don't understand it, first of all, and second, they're not aware of what's happening. So yeah, you can decide that I'm gonna put the last video I did, I put by the way, check the last video out. It's also a very important video to watch. But last time I put descriptions at the bottom, I put photos at the bottom of the meanings and stuff I take from different websites. So I'm gonna link this one for sure. You can decide at any time that you don't consent to sexual behavior continuing, even if you already started. Remember, you can, for example, someone, for example, will ask you, your partner would ask you, for example, hey, can I, for example, touch you there on your body? And then you say yes to that, okay? But then throughout, when the action is happening or when it started happening, you decide to change your mind immediately. This should be well known. Immediately, no. No is a no. If you say no, they should stop and respect that. If they don't, then that's sexual assault, basically. They denied what you said. That's the word, I'm sorry. They denied you the no. They said to you, if they lied to you as well in the beginning, they were like, oh yes, we can do this, but I'll agree to you if you say yes or you say no, and I'll respect your decisions. And then later on, they will start being ignoring your no's and your cues. That's exactly when it's a sexual assault. And you can see it in most form of porn. corn. Replace the C with a P, because I don't know if it's allowed to do that on YouTube, so I'm not gonna say it. But what I'm saying is, most of these content, like adult content that you see online, tend to always have videos where like boundaries are not respected. There's a lot of them. So that's why I encourage everyone to not even glimpse an eye on this content. Like, please don't, because first of all, they rot the brain. Second, they're not healthy ways to do sex, basically, or like to have intimate time with someone. And secondly, most young adults would get their information from these websites, and then they will try to put them into practice, which, by the way, it's all acting, and most of it is fake. So if the outcome doesn't come out how they want it to, then that's where sexual assault comes in, basically. What should I do after sexual assault, basically? All right, let's answer this question. If you are in a dangerous situation, most people, by the way, in dangerous situations like sexual assault, emotional assault, physical abuse, all of these type of things, it's very, 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 very difficult for a person to speak up about it. So you would never know if a person is in this situation, but there's always cues to tell. I'm gonna put more information about that, but I'm gonna get to that in a bit. Most people actually, when they end up in hospitals after a certain situation, maybe they have health issues and they're being sexually assaulted or other forms of stuff, and it happens that, I don't know, they end up in the hospital. For some reason, they end up in the hospital. Mind you, they will always have to contact the police, but the person who's affected by the situation, sometimes they will like, no, don't call the police, blah, 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 because they are afraid of what their own significant other would do to them, or whoever it is that is, doing the bad behavior to them. They will be scared of the outcome from that situation. And usually, sadly, even in America, Australia, Britain, Africa, like South Africa, or like, all of these countries like Singapore, Dubai, whatever, most of these countries, the police usually doesn't take immediate actions when it comes to situations like this. You always need like a bunch of courts, a lot of evidence. And sometimes in situations like this, you can't get enough evidence, but you are the evidence, basically. But to the police, sometimes they disregard the person's experiences. They shame the person sometimes, which sucks, by the way. In certain countries, they would do that. Especially, I'm talking from experience because in my country, I come from Lebanon. It's a third world country. I've lived there for 12 years. I have heard my mom explain things to me, and many, many times I've heard her say, women are not a priority in the country because, like, back in my time, they weren't a priority, like, firsthand. So, for example, if you go to court or you go to the like, anybody in the political powers, like police and stuff like that, if you go to anyone in higher powers and you report, for example, saying, I saw a man staring at me, for example, or I saw or a man, my husband, for example, is hurting me in certain ways, including sexual assault, possibly, they would go, oh, he's a man, he doesn't do this and that. Or they would go, you are just faking it. Or the worst one of all is, this is your husband, you deal with him. Like, women do not have the voice, what I'm trying to say. So that's why we need to advocate for it. That's why women's rights are very important, and that's why women should stand together, not against each other like most people do. But regardless of that, that's a whole different topic I'm going into. But okay, if you are experiencing first-hand sexual assault, the first thing, even though it's very hard to do, by the way, but if you can and you feel safe enough to do it, and if you have the courage and the time and the effort, all of that to do it, please, 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 immediately get out of your house, contact a friend that you trust, anybody, friend or any family that you trust deeply, and go to them immediately and ask for help if they can help. If you can't, then police stations are always available as well. The police stations take a lot of time and effort to do things, but they will still get to the bottom of it. Regardless of anything, they will try to help you as much as possible. If you live in a safe country where you can voice your opinion, you can voice your word, immediately. Always advocate for voicing your opinion. If you can as well, therapist. If you have a therapist, contact them immediately. If you have a hospital near you, immediately contact the hospital. Go to a hospital. If you feel safe enough to do that, please, I beg you, go to anybody who you trust, especially people who work in organizations and stuff like that. Friends and family are always like the priority that people take. Most people would go to a friend or family they trust, and they always direct them to either hospital or police station or anything like that. So please. Okay, well, let's get into the medical treatments that happen for people who experience sexual assault. Because sometimes, some people could have medical issues, and when they get that form of treatment from someone, negative treatment from someone, they can basically, get either, more injuries or get worse possibly, or pregnant perhaps if the female is the one affected, or like someone with a womb is affected. It can be anything basically. So there's always a certain treatment that they will do in hospitals for this. And immediately when you get sexually assaulted, you need to seek medical help, because you never know what issues could have occurred to you. Maybe the person who was doing it to you is someone you don't even know in the first place, like RAPE. I'm not gonna say the full word in case YouTube bans me for it, but the RAPE word, yeah, the R word. So that word, yeah, sometimes it can happen. It can happen sometimes where a person could just be a random stranger you met in a club, or someone you never even seen. Like when you're walking outside, for example, in the dark, and someone comes, not to scare anyone, but it could happen. It's something that has happened before to many different people, and I've heard of it. Like a random stranger that just happens to have mental issues or something, and they decide to RAPE someone, and you never know if the person has HIV, AIDS, STDs. You never know what the person's medical issues is, and they could transfer all of that to you without even your consent. You did not even ask for it. So that's why seeking medical attention is very, very, very important when it comes to this situation. It's very important. Always go to the emergency department of the hospital, general practices, a doctor, sexual health clinic. There's clinics that specialize in all this stuff that you can go to, and you can get a referral from your family doctor or anybody that you know and trust. Get a referral, take you there, and they can get you sorted out. It's very important, because infections can really happen in this situation. They are very high. There's a very high chance infections can happen in these situations, because specifically you did not ask for it. Doctors, nurses will deal with your medical needs confidently. So they say here on the website, they say if you're an adult, they will not inform the police without your permission. First off, if you're an adult, they will make sure that you ask you first if you need to inform the police or anything. And if you're a child, they will definitely have to tell the parents or anyone, the caregiver basically, unless the caregiver themselves is the issue. But they will try to contact the police or anybody that can help. Even, it says here on the website, even if you don't have any form of sexual transmissions, like infections, they will still, regardless of anything, they will still refer you to a sexual clinic in case they missed any important medical health issues. And they might even need to do emergency contraception. Some people may also need to discuss with the doctor or nurse the possibility of pregnancy. That's what I talked about earlier. So some people could get pregnant because they didn't use the right healthy ways to avoid that. And because, of course, the person did not ask for it, so it's possible that it will happen to someone. So that's why you need to be careful where you go. Always make sure, always, when you go out and about anywhere, if you feel threatened in any certain situation, even if it's a little bit, even if it's just you thinking you're being threatened, but you're not actually, even in that case, please immediately report, call police, tell someone, just inform anyone. I've seen so many videos in America, basically, especially, where people would go on the road, women mainly, they would go on the road and some creepy ass dude would be around in the corner trying to do something to the woman. And I've seen many videos of people trying, like other women, who see that and they will fake act, like they're a friend of the girl or they're a family member of the girl, which is a great way to get rid of someone. So please, if you are ever in any situation like this, screaming is an important thing. Like if something happens to you, sometimes screaming can be dangerous because the person, you never know if they can have any like weapons with them that can hurt you. But usually self-defense is important as well. Self-defense, if you have your legs, kick, scream, run immediately. If you can scream and run. But when the person holds you down, usually it's tricky. It's a tricky situation to be in, and I'm not gonna get into this part because I am not fully like educated on that bit of the information. So if there's a link for this certain, or there's any like something I can show on screen, I would definitely do that. 100% I would do that because I'm not really informed on that. Change of camera angle because I need to read the information and the camera was in the way. But this part here is very important. If you are someone who, or you know someone who has experienced sexual assault, this is some of the feelings you might have after experiencing that. And it's completely normal to have any feeling you have because you've been through a lot. Do not shame yourself for feeling different. Do not ever downgrade yourself for the experiences you have. Never, ever, ever in your entire life blame yourself, even though a lot of sexual assault people who experience sexual assault will do. They will blame themselves for the actions that happened to them when they had no say in it and they had no action in it. So please, always, if a person denies it, it's completely normal to do that because you experienced the situation and that's something that you will do anyway. But if you know someone who does that, you know immediately that, yeah, they need therapy and treatment for all of this to, like, ease up and fix itself, you know? It's not gonna fix itself by itself. You need to send yourself, or someone send you, or, you know, the person that is a friend or family of yours that has experienced this type of behavior, they need therapy. It won't fix itself. But the emotions you might feel after that, which is normal to have, includes shock and denial, which I just explained, sorry. Next is not being able to talk about the experiences, obviously, because they're traumatic. Anxiety, fear, and not being able to relax, which is a very valid thing to have because, you know, you experienced a lot of trauma. It's not gonna randomly just evaporate from your head. It could stay in there for like 10, 20, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, however long it could stay in there, and it could be deeply rooted. That's why therapy is important. Also, depression, mood swings, sometimes, a lot of the times actually, a person who experiences those type of assaults usually end up having major anger issues, or like crying daily, or always crying in situations, and traumatic flashback. PTSD is a big thing that comes with this. Like, for example, if you are someone who has a partner that experienced sexual assault beforehand, like previous years, please always consider their feelings first. Always consider their feelings. Always make sure they know they are safe, loved, cared for, and most importantly, give them the opportunity to voice out what they need. Even if it takes an hour, a day, 5 years, as long as it takes. Let them always have the say in whatever the hell you're gonna do with them when it comes to being in bed or stuff like that. And a lot of the times, people who experience sexual assault don't even want to engage in that part of the relationship, which is totally normal, and you should respect that. You should 100% respect their decisions on everything that includes this part of their body, okay? Respect is always the key. Consent, respect, communication. These are the three main important things you should consider in every relationship, in any situation. And other feelings that someone could have is nightmares and flashbacks, which I said, PTSD. And loss of confidence, self-esteem, trust in others. Trust is a big one. Because people who obviously experience those stuff would be like, is this person gonna do it to me too? Or is that person gonna be the same way the other person was with me? They're always gonna question that. So please, communication, respect. Always and forever. Yeah, as I said here, it says it here as well. It's not your fault. If you've been in that situation before and RAPE happened to you, it's not your fault. Never blame yourself for anything. You're always loved, you're always cared for, and there's always people around you who would always try their best to make you feel loved and safe. I'm sure of it. So please don't lose hope and stay strong. Because you are strong, you are loved, you are important, you are valid. We see you, we hear you, and this is why I'm making this video, because I see you, I hear you, and I want to make sure you are respected and loved no matter what, and I want to make sure that people prevent this from happening to anybody. No person on this earth should experience this. If they don't want it, they shouldn't experience it. Of course, nobody wants it, but you shouldn't experience this. Always, consent is key. Okay, next one is, how do I report if this happens? Only you can decide whether you want to report it or not to the police. It can be done at any time you want. A year, 10 minutes after it happened, 3 hours, whatever, you decide. You have the key, you have the knowledge, you have the experience, you have everything. You are the one in control, and you decide when you want to report whatever happened to you. Even if you go to a friend and they suggest, or family member or anybody who suggests you should report it, it's always you who have the say in this, because it's your experience, not their experience. They are just there to help you figure out how to deal with it, okay? In the safest way possible. You can report assault to police even if you don't want a navigation. See, you can report it, but they don't have to navigate, to investigate what's happened. You can just report it and be like, this person did blah blah blah, and then show them evidence, and then they'll be like, okay, great, we can deal with that without investigation. This creates a record of what happened, basically, which can be used later if you change your mind. So if you change your mind in the future and you're like, no, I want an investigation, then you can still do that after you reported it beforehand. So they have all the information they need to be like, okay, we can do the investigation if you want now. And it also it may stop someone else from being harmed by the person that harmed you. So, for example, if your partner harmed you and you reported it, this could be a very high chance for the police to look at this person and be like, this person is dangerous and we need to stop them from doing blah 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 to someone else. Okay, it goes here into how physical evidence is collected, so I might put a screenshot of that, and I'm not going to talk much about it because I'll just put a photo of it. And then at the bottom there's resources, which I'm gonna 100% link this page in the descriptions, so you guys can check the resources that are linked here. These are all, by the way, Australian resources, so if I can find American-based resources or British-based resources, I'll 100% link them down below. Also, before I end this video, there's also a police website I found, which I'm gonna link as well, and a bunch of other things. But anyway, before I finish this video, I would like to hope that I can get this video on YouTube without me being either flagged or my channel taken down. I'm hoping I can do that. And if I can, then if that makes it on YouTube, then there you go. You have it. But again, I'm making sure 100% that I am not discouraging anyone's experiences, and I'm making sure I provide what I see while researching. I'm researching this, I'm talking here while I'm researching at the same time. And I already have information from my head as well, which I know because I've seen videos and stuff. And again, if I said anything in this video that is negative or like discouraging or wrong information, I highly suggest, please leave in the comments down below what I did wrong and how I can fix the information, and I will make a short explaining um, the things I did bad and how I should fix them. I'm still in the learning curve as well, and my biggest thing I want to do is psychology in the future. I might do music psychology, like music therapy, possibly, but my biggest thing is I want to be psychologist in the future. So if I did anything wrong, please let me know. Please let me know. If I gave you any wrong information, please let me know in the comments below. I always am open for both negative and positive feedback. So please, anything you have in the comments below, do not hesitate. Because I want to make sure I am correct and I'm not spreading misinformation around, okay? And thank you so much for watching this video. If you did, and even if you didn't, stick around, and I'll see you next time. You're loved, you're safe, you're cared for. Don't ever forget that. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.